What is going on, guys? This is Idle. Hope you're having a fantastic morning or afternoon wherever you're at. Today, we got a couple fun things going on. We will be doing a meta talk tier list video. I'm going to be breaking down the meta, showing you the top decks, their win rates, and even some tips and tricks on how to beat/counter them. Also, as you guys are looking at right now, we do have our Cyrus giveaway. You guys crushed the 100 sub goal, so we're going to knock this out right now. And if you guys don't know, or if you're new to the channel, giveaways will be a frequent thing here. I want to have an opportunity to give back to the community, especially that, can't spend on the game. So after these initial ones, there won't be any sub goals attached to them. I'm going to be trying to do them after every set release, just so you guys can get some nice full art version of all the new meta cards coming out. So our next giveaway will actually be 2 full art oaks. One once we hit 500 subs, and the other will be at 1,000. So if you want to be entered for those, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and drop a comment down below. All right, it's wheel time. So I don't even know why I'm nervous. I'm sure someone really needs a Cyrus here full art, maybe completing the set or getting their first one. So if you do win, I'll be getting into contact with you. Don't worry. If you don't respond within 24 hours, I will have to spin the wheel again for another winner. All right? So let's do this. Oh, man. And we have a winner. So our Cyrus winner is Drago5704. Drago, I'm going to be hitting you up. Don't worry about it. If I can't get through to you, try to message me, but I'll be getting into contact with you here shortly. The 24 hours starts once the video goes up. So it's not when I'm doing this recording. So now that's done. As I said, if you guys haven't, drop a sub. We got more of these coming in the future. Let's get to the video now. I made this tier list here. Pretty much, guys, all the EX mons, because that's what most of the decks are right now, and standalone Magnezone here. I'm just going to be dividing them on a standard tier list, S and A, which is going to be your most popular decks. B is going to be kind of rogue. You have a don't play, which is just a void. But what I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to leave those for last, and everything that doesn't get put up there will probably just be in don't play. And then potential, which is, it can be good, it just needs the right supporting cards in the future. So that's what the tier list is going to be based on. As you guys can see here, I have the full list pulled up. The first deck I do want to talk about, and I'm just going to be going off of basically play count, and then I'll navigate from there. We're going to be talking about the infamous Mega Absol and Darkrai. Right now it's sitting at a 51.98% win rate, with over 3,785 wins. So I sorted these by dates, so you guys can kind of see what's going on right now in the meta. And Mega Absol now is winning more than anything. As you guys can see, a lot of first place finishes and a lot of tops these past couple weeks, and this is not including the Hydreigon variant. I'm going to get to that in a second. But these last couple weeks, it has been doing really good. Here's a really popular list for the Darkrai variant. So now a lot of people are playing the baby Absols. You can run 1 or 2. You don't have to run 2. But this just gives you so much room. As you can see, you're only playing 6 Mons in this version. So 6 Mons and then 14 cards to support your deck. The deck's really good because you can do a 1-1-3 prize game. You can stall them out with the Chingling, or even if you lead with the Absol, you can ping the bench. And then when you're ready, you have 2 copies of Cyruses to pull them out, start attacking, and then get rid of those supporters in their hand. You're always looking to get rid of their Cyruses or Sabrina, of course, and anything that'll basically be a threat. I think what's going on now, and the reason why this deck has become so good recently, is people took the innovation of the Mega Blaziken playing the Heat more and attacking the bench and pushed it over to this deck. So now Cyrus is a lot more valuable, and you can kind of get things stuck in the active spot. Now, how do you beat it? So Mega Absol has one glaring weakness compared to the other Megas, and it is the fact that it has only 170 HP. You can really take advantage of that. You can ping it, get small chip damage on it, pull it out with Cyrus and knock it out. Typically how I play against this deck is if I have to obviously knock out a Chingling, I will, but I'm always going to be focusing my damage on the Mega Absol, not paying attention to anything else. Or another thing that you can do is a lot of the times they will be trying to pivot between both of the Absols. So what you're going to do is you're either going to knock out a baby Absol or a Chingling and then aim for the Darkrai. Just ignore this Absol overall. And it's very doable if you have a Sabrina or if you have something that can target the bench and you can pull it out with the Cyrus. Definitely is a top meta contender right now. Now let's talk about the other Absol variant here. You have Absol Hydreigon. All of them are going to be sorted by date. So this is the most recent tournaments going on. As you guys can see, this is Pocket Mad's tournaments. You had 3 basically top 10 finishes. The tournament was won by a Mega Absol Hydreigon deck, right? Look at these stats. They're insane. Not one person here has lost more than 3 games. This deck really took a incredible route as well. What makes this one so different? So people did try this at first. The original blueprint of the deck was you were running 2 Mega Absols. So one of them did get cut down because you realize you don't really need it. And now they're playing the baby Absol for the exact same reason. You can basically ping something and pull it out. But since Magnezone is becoming a big threat in the meta right now, this variant started doing really well because Hydreigon can just come and one-shot the Oricorio. Or you put a Rocky helmet on, it hits you, and you hit it back and kill it, right? You ping it with the Absol, you Cyrus in the Magnezone, and you kill it with the Hydreigon. So you have so many outs. Hydreigon just handles that deck so well, and that deck is being played to counter the other decks. So it's basically a counter of a counter, but then Mega Absol holds its own and Hydreigon can hold its own as well. A turn 2, if you're going first and basically your second turn after that, Rare Candy into Hydreigon can apply so much pressure to somebody that sometimes if they attach the energy in the wrong place, they lose. Okay, so how do you beat this version of the deck? So this version, it does suffer sometimes from consistency issues. I faced this deck where they brick and they just get ran over. That's one of the issues they have, and they do play 2 copycats to help with that. But if you are managing your Mars, if you play those or red cards, you can properly disrupt their hand where it's not an issue. Now, another thing you can do is basically target that Mega Absol and just try as hard as you can just to always be pulling it out and attacking it, pulling it out and attacking it. Let the Hydreigon do its thing. But at the end of the day, if you pull it out, they have to attach an energy to retreat it if they want to go back into the Hydreigon. And even if the Hydreigon can ramp 2, it won't have the third one to attack. So that's why in a lot of my decks right now, I'm actually playing 2 Cyruses or doing a Cyrus and Sabrina just for that purpose as well. Because a lot of people are trying to time when to bring in that Mega Pokemon. And you want to take advantage of all the fluff that's around it, right? The Hydreigon in this case would be the fluff. The baby Absol is the fluff. So for that reason, I am going to take Mega Absol and I'm putting it in S tier. I think that one is pretty obvious between the 2 variants of the decks. They are absolutely dominating in tournament play right now. So, and you have such a good matchup into everything. You only need 2 energies to attach to the Absol to really start disrupting their hand and their gameplay. And if you do get your combo going, it is a pretty consistent deck. 1,306 games, as you guys can see there, is Suicune Greninja. So right here we have 3,772 wins at a whopping 52.33%. That is higher than the Absol deck. Here's one of the most common variants being played right now. So basically with this deck, you don't have to play the Giratina. Some people are swapping it in and out, I'm noticing. Some people are doing it for a Chingling, or some people are doing it for a second Greninja EX. Depends however you want to play the deck. But as you guys can see here, it's a very consistent deck. A lot of tops. It's very popular as well. I think people just like the comfortability of always being able to draw cards with Suicune. So you're going to get to your pieces no matter what. And Suicune is such an interesting card because it counters Mega Altaria in a way. And it is kind of one of their rough matchups. It goes back and forth, but Suicune Greninja does have an advantage. What's also really good about this deck is the addition of Greninja EX. Allowing you just to switch for no energy is very good because you're not putting yourself behind, right? Solgaleo is such a great card and its ability is so amazing, but what makes it weak is the fact that it doesn't have a good supporting cast. But when you have cards like Suicune EX drawing you cards, hitting for 120 when there's a full field, it's insane, right? So how do you beat this deck? All right. One, you can play Electric. Magnezone or Oricorio does really well into this deck, and they will struggle if they don't have the baby Greninja out. Also, a lot of the times these guys leave their Suicune in the active, or they start with the Suicune. It just happens so much, I notice when I face these decks. And they'll attach to everything that's in the back, aggress the Suicune. What I notice is every single time I aggress the Suicune and I go up in 2 points, what I typically do from there is I just give them 2-1 prizers while I'm loading up basically my Mega Pokemon. So then my Mega Pokemon is going to come in either against the Giratina, the Greninja EX, or the second Suicune. Because that first Suicune is just there to soak up damage and draw them cards. And then they'll prepare into everything else. Also, this deck does suffer from inconsistencies. If they don't draw the Suicune to start drawing, as you can see, there's no copycat. Sometimes they play one, but it's not a big thing in this deck because their Mon lineup is pretty big, and they do have to play the Iridas to avoid any Cyruses, anything like that. What happens is a lot of the times they end up drawing a bunch of rare candies with no stage 2s, or they draw the stage 2s with no rare candies. So take advantage of basically when you see that their hand is full. And another thing I want a lot of you guys to know is just because you see a full hand, don't Mars or red card right away. I notice a lot of times players get really eager to do that and they unbrick the other person, right? If you're noticing they haven't activated any Professor's Research, they definitely drew a bad hand. So just leave it like that, because they would have Professor's Research, or they probably would have Pokeballed by now if they had something decent in their hand. The crazy thing is, Suicune's situation, during this meta, it started off really strong, then it dipped down a little bit during the middle of it, and then now it's back up again once people started playing more Blaziken and Mega Altaria. I'm going to put Suicune right into S tier. We know where it belongs, but I still think the Mega Absol variants are now better than Suicune. Some people would disagree, but just from this week alone and all the showings we've been getting in the new edition of the Baby Absols, I think that Suicune is getting pushed out a little bit. So we're going to put Suicune right behind Mega Absol. Okay. Third on the list, as you guys can see, everyone's favorite, Mega Altaria. Mega Altaria has come a long way from its original starting point. So at first, everyone was playing the Jirachi build. And then now we're moving more into a Indeedee supporting Jirachi build, which I think this is the perfect place to be in. So this deck here, and I'm sure it's the bane of a lot of your guys' existence, it's sitting at a whopping 53.76% win rate with 3,805 wins. And as you guys can see here, a lot of those wins have been recently with the new innovations of adding the Indeedee with the Jirachi. The crazy thing is, yes, there's a lot of tops, but most of these tops are first places, which is insane. This deck really handles well in a lot of matchups. It's just because there's so many different things you can do to win a game. So Mega Altaria's easy card to bring out. It's a stage 1. So you don't have to worry about even playing rare candies in your deck like a lot of these other decks have to. So that's automatically 2 spots extra you can have for other cards you need. You play the Baby Altaria to handle the Oricorio in one hit. So your Magnezone matchup is not even that bad. You can one-shot the Magnezone basically if you Jirachi ping the plus attack, or Rocky Helmet plus attacked it. It's just so consistent. You play the 2 Lizias, you're always getting your pieces. Copycat to turbo your deck. Every single time I face this deck, or I've used this deck, I just never have any issues using it. And when I face it, the opponent never has any issues. You'll always see the Mega Altaria on the board. You'll always see the Chingling popping out or a Jirachi. And the Indeedee supporting is so good. And sometimes people don't think about it. For example, like, even if you're in a Chingling fight with the opponent, right? You're healing your Chingling or your Jirachi or whatever it is. And those extra turns will help you out a lot. You can also use that to pivot around, take extra hits. But the annoying thing about this deck, and I think this all just stemmed from Mega Blaziken using Heat more. Because now everyone's just doing the same thing. They're playing something that can hit the bench. And they're playing Cyrus to pull it out. Typically what you're going to hit on the bench is the thing you need to pull out later on to win the game. You can do so many things, right? Jirachi can go ahead and hit their Mega Pokemon. And you could just start applying pressure to it. Or what I've been doing, and I notice this has been working really well for me, is depending how my opponent's playing, I'll knock out their baby Pokemon or whatever basic Pokemon there is. And most decks have like an EX support, right? You have the Suicune EXs, the Giratinas, the Indeedee in this deck, Darkrai EXs. So they'll always have an EX. You ping that with the Jirachi, and then that will automatically put them, most of them, at around like 110 HP. And then all you got to do in 2 turns is just Cyrus and switch to Mega Altaria, and you win the game because you knocked out a baby Pokemon prior. It's so good. It's so consistent. This deck's insane. I don't even know what to say about it. I'm sure when you guys enter these tournaments, half the tournament is full of this deck. It's not even that. It's just the fact that most of the top 32 or even top 64 is full of this deck, and I can see why. So for that reason, and that reason only, no, I'm joking, for every other reason I named, I'm putting Mega Altaria as the number 1 deck. Right now, out of these so far. 2 for 130 is insane. 190 HP is insane. The Jirachi hitting the bench is insane. Oh my god, like, it's just such a good deck. All right, moving down the list. We already talked about Hydreigon Mega Absol. So number 5 is going to be Mega Blaziken and Heatmore with 829 games. As you guys can see, there was a period where it was doing consistently well, and then it kind of like got to a period last week where it dropped, and now it's kind of picking back up again. But it's still not in the best place. This is your pretty much standard list. A lot of people are running the Heat more. Whoever made this trend, shout out to you, man, because not every deck is basically playing their own version of Heat more, and basically at this point everyone has to main deck, I'd say 2 copies of Cyrus, if anything, if you can fit 2 in there. It's a good deck. It does what it has to do. The Mega Blaziken swings for 140 total when you add that tick of burn. With the Heatmore ping, it's 170, so you're going to knock your Mega Absols out in 1 hit. The Combusken does well into Oricorios. You can stall with Mega Blaziken and just keep burning them. And then if you're ever short on math, that's what the Rocky Helmet's there for, because the Rocky Helmet will turn that 170 that Heatmore and Blaziken does into 190, so I can knock out your Mega Altarias. So that's why this deck was first doing good. So what happened? How do you beat this deck? Okay, so 1, a lot of people started doing the same thing that they did. 1, people just are not putting stuff on the bench for the Heatmore to even attack. Jirachi, on the other hand, can attack anything. Jirachi can attack the active or the bench. Also, we can just pull out now the Mega Blaziken and just focus down the Mega Blaziken. Chingling's a lot more common in a lot of decks, which slows this deck down completely when they can't rare candy. And you can just do that until you get your pieces going yourself. Because what you can do is if they have a Heatmore with nothing else and you have a Chingling, the Heatmore can't attack the Chingling, so you can just keep attacking it. And then that's why Mega Altaria adding in the Indeedee to support the active. A lot of decks develop counterplay just because what this deck started doing. And then now this deck is, yes, it's good, but I'm noticing that most of the top cuts in the tournament aren't going to be. And let me show you guys an example here. So this was just completed. It's Pocket Mad's big tournament. 700 people in this one. Where's the Mega Blaziken? At least the top 25 I'm showing you guys right here, but it's nowhere to be seen. As you guys can see, think about 65%-ish is Mega Altaria. Indeedee, 20% is probably Absol, 10% is Suicune, or 15% is like Suicune, the rest is like mixed. So when you're looking at this deck, it's really tough because Suicune Greninja eats it up, and that's a pretty common deck too. And then now all these other decks like Mega Altaria is doing the same thing but better, because like I said, Jirachi can attack even the active, and Mega Altaria doesn't need a rare candy, so you just get Chinglinged. For that reason, don't get me wrong, it is still a good deck. I'm going to put it at the bottom of S tier. The funny thing is, like, yes, everything's in S tier, but it's like everything is good. And I think this is probably one of the most healthiest metas we've been in, where you can queue up any one of these decks, plus probably the next one I'm about to show you guys too, and be in a really good spot and probably win most of your ranked ladder games. So that brings us, okay, I'm not talking about number 7 yet. We're actually going to go to number 8. And that's going to be Magnezone Oricorio with 1,705 wins at a 52.43%. A lot of showings. This deck is very popular as well. As you guys can see, a lot of consistent tops, and I'm sure you guys know why. This deck is super annoying to go up against. I'm sure when you guys face it, every single time you guys are always like, oh my god, they have the Magneton again. Oh my god, they have the Magnezone. They always draw the Magneton and the Magnezone. This deck is very consistent. It does what it has to do. And the reason why is because you're playing your whole hand, basically. You can Pokeball. You can evolve into the Magneton. You can put all your Mons down. You can Cape. And then what they do is they copycat back 4, 5, 6 cards, right? The deck does what it has to do. Its strengths are in its Oricorio. It handles a lot of the Megas and EXs right now. And then when they try to kill you, you just bring in the Magnezone and return kill it. If you're playing up against a heavy EX deck, your game plan is 2 Oricorios, 1 Magnezone. If it's a deck that has a lot of stage 1 Pokemons or even basics, you're mostly playing your 2 Magnezones, 1 Oricorio. So the deck can easily pivot no matter what. They added the Pokemon Center Lady too to basically counteract any chip or any Rocky Helmet or Poison Barbs or Burns. This deck eats Suicune and Greninja. It beats the Absol and Darkrai variant pretty well, but it loses to the Hydreigon Absol variant. Your Blaziken matchup is really good. If you're playing the Oricorios right, you should easily win that matchup. The only issue is against Mega Altaria, because if they get to your Magnemites early with the Jirachi, you'll lose. So that matchup typically kind of goes 50-50, but it is in favor of the Mega Altaria. But this deck does have a good, consistent, all-around matchup, and it's pretty good in the meta right now as well. How do you beat it? It's easy. All you gotta do is make sure your deck has something to handle the Oricorios. I think every deck should have at least one baby version of their boss Pokemon if there is one, or just a basic Pokemon that can one-hit the Oricorio. Make sure you are paying attention to how they're playing their hand, what they're drawing, because it is really televised when they don't have the pieces to complete the Magnezone. If they're really aggressively searching, for example, or if, you see 2 Oricorios, or if the energies are going in the wrong place. So what you have to do is, once you kind of see those openings, that's when you have to take advantage of it. I found against this deck when I'm playing EX decks, for example, I was playing like a Guzzlord deck in this tournament. And what I did was I purposely just try to snipe the Magnemites as early as I could. So I was like, okay, if I can just get rid of these Magnemites as soon as I can, it won't be an issue, because all I got to deal with the Oricorio, and then my basic Mons can just deal with 1 Oricorio. But even if I can kill 1 Magnemite before it turns into a Magnezone, the game is already done. Because all I have to do now is just deal with 1 Magnezone and then 1 Oricorio. And you're basically giving him 2 dead draws, right? 1 Magneton and 1 Magnezone. I do rate this deck. It's just this deck's been around for so long, and it is boring to go up against sometimes. So if you do play it, I'm assuming you just want to play it because you do want the wins. But yeah, it's not that fun for your opponent. So for that reason, that's why I added it here to this list. I am going to put Magnezone above Blaziken, but below Suicune. Even though I can beat it, Suicune has been having a better showings, and it has more tools prepared and can get to his tools faster. Also, that free switching in Suicune is broken. So these are my top 5 decks here. Don't worry, I'm still going to talk about some other ones here really quick. I just wanted to make the statement known that, okay, this is probably going to be the meta here. These are the 5 decks you're going to see the most. Okay, now we have A tier, because I'm not putting nothing else in S unless I forgot something. So let's move on to some decks that you'll see do good. Maybe they'll have a showing a couple times in the top 32 in the tournament. They can get some wins here or there, but they're just not consistent. First one is going to be Decidueye. Decidueye is good. It can attack anything that's on the board. You don't even need to play Cyrus sometimes. The fact that you can ping everything is really good. The baby version just snipes the whole board even without anything on the board. So this deck is really good into Magnezone because you can just snipe the Oricorios for 70. This deck also fully counters Mega Absol. So if Mega Absol does end up becoming something even more popular and a problem, a lot of people probably pivot to Decidueye. Next up is Greninja. Greninja variants, they are really good. Most of the time, people just put a Suicune in and they'll go 2 Greninjas, 1 Suicune. Not as good as the other one because you do need the Suicune to power through your deck, and that Suicune does help in the Altaria matchup, as Altaria is the best deck in the game right now. So for that reason, I'm putting Greninja in A tier. Okay, I want to actually put some cards in Potential. Potential to me is kind of like a B plus tier in a way. They're not quite A tier, but if everything goes right, these decks are really good. So the first one I did want to put out there is Espeon. Recently, a lot of people have been doing really well with Espeon. It is consistent in what it has to do, especially with the new Eevee. Getting to it is the issue, and also the damage output that this deck has is an issue. So I still need to test this deck and see how it does in the meta right now. This deck can go into A tier. Like, I want to see where this deck is going to go. Guzzlord. Okay. I know a lot of people don't make content on this. I just dropped a video a couple days ago where I got 9th place in a big tournament with it. I only had 1 loss with Guzzlord. It's really underrated. It's a good card. It's super tanky and hard to kill. Grindcore can be the difference of like winning and losing a game. If you combo it with Poison, this deck is really good. I've seen people do it with Mega Absol. The one I played though was with Poison, and I didn't have a lot of bad matchups. So right now, a lot of the Guzzlord decks that I have been playing actually have been performing really well. So that's what I'm going to put in that has potential. I don't think it's necessarily A tier yet, but the deck can still become really good. Also, Lucamine is such a good card, right? All right, next for potential, we do got Crobat. I'm putting Crobat here in combination with like Darkrai. You compare these together. You compare the Crobat with the Absol. People are picking that up too. Getting a turn 1 Crobat off to hit for 70 and add Poison, if you go first and then Rare Candy next turn, is super aggressive. So the deck is good. It's just there's other variants of Absol that is doing what it can do, but better. Hydreigon applies more pressure for the cost of only 1 prize, and it's doing basically almost a double damage than what Crobat's doing. Definitely something you guys should look into. I just want to put Arceus in B tier. It's like the only, I don't know if I'm going to add anything else there, but it's a deck that, yes, it does what Mega Altaria does. They're basically twins. But it's just he only has 140 HP. He also requires 3 energy to attack compared to Mega Altaria and has 70 less HP. So it's not as good. Lima is a good card. It can work with it. And then the standalone Crobat from that set that pings for 30 when you have Arceus, that is a good card with it too. This deck pops out randomly when it wants to be good, and it'll occasionally have like 1 or 2 showings in a tournament. I don't see it being better than anything else on this list unless more supporting cards come out for it. Okay, I'm putting this at the back of potential because the card just came out. Yes, people are like, okay, it does require 3 and it's only doing 100, but it's just the potential of wiping your opponent's energy clean, and that just sets them back for you to win the game. It can turn a whole game around. Keep in mind, he does have 210 HP also, and he plays colorless. So the fact that he can be played with anything leaves a lot of potential for him to be broken in the future. When I was playing Guzzlord, it just made me realize how that energy disruption can really turn games around. So don't count on Mega Pidgeot yet. He's definitely a card that I feel like people will pick up in the future. Also throw Leafeon in B tier. Leafeon's one of those decks that it'll occasionally, same thing with Arceus, have like 1 or 2 showing. Sometimes with Flareon it's good. Sometimes with supporting Grass Mons. Not too much to say about that. So we'll just throw in Flareon in there as well. Gyarados sucks. Don't play that card. Let's see. What am I missing here? Jolteon does have potential. I can't tier it up or here yet because we don't really know what to do with Jolteon at the moment. I mean, everyone's like, yeah, Oricorio and all this stuff like that, but it's just, its ability is really good and it's really funny. I think it needs something else to make it go above and beyond. And don't play this. I'll throw in Hitmonchan in the B tier as well. Hitmonchan, it's one of those decks where people are playing it now with Rampardos. It's good because obviously you start with the Hitmonchan, but it's just not good enough. 50 on turn 1, yes, it's good, but then the rest of the game, it falls off. If you don't draw your fossils, the game's done. And I've seen that happen so many times. Doesn't matter if they copycat. It just gets to a point where it's just too late in the game and they just lose. It's the common thing for this deck. And then I guess the last thing you could really talk about here is Giratina for like Darkrai Giratina. Just put this back here. I'm so glad this thing is down here. I never want to see Darktina again in my life. I think that was the most toxic meta ever. The most boring meta this game ever had. And the fact that you can have all this potential, 2 decks in A tier and 5 decks in S tier, this is actually what a healthy meta looks like. And I'm honestly looking forward to everything else they add from here. So that wraps it up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys made it to the end of the video. Congrats again to the Full Art Cyrus winner. Remember, if you want to be entered for any of my other future giveaways, if you're not subscribed, drop that sub, leave a comment down below so I can keep track of who entered the contest. And as soon as we hit 500 subs, maybe that Full Art Oak will be yours. This is Idle. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See you in the next one. Peace.